Hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back in for another episode of Swiss Cheese Beats. My name is Daniel. This is episode 24.
Kobe!
And today I'm going to be reviewing another practice pad here on the show. Actually, two practice pads, and they are none other than the innovative Percussion red gum rubber pad and black core pad. I feel like it'd be really fun to have a giant checkers game with these.
King me!
Well guys, we did it. After 41 weeks and 27 videos, we have hit 4 digits in the subscriber mark, breaking 1,000. Can't say thank you enough. Super excited about what the future's gonna bring. I'm kind of thinking about doing maybe a little bit of a Q&A episode. So if that interests you, maybe you wanna know a little bit more about me, maybe you don't. But if an episode like that were to interest you, drop your questions down below. I will do my best to answer each and every one of those for you in an upcoming episode. Also gotta give a huge thank you to Henry Go of Innovative Percussion. Henry handles the artist and educator relations for the company, and he was so kind enough to send us this red gum rubber pad. That way I could combine this episode with my black core pad and do a review of both practice pads for you guys. So Henry, we thank you. And of course, a disclaimer regarding all the reviews that are done on this channel, they are 100% non-sponsored. Just gonna find some things about these practice pads that I know will interest you guys as an audience, as well as do a sound test for you. So over the last several years, Innovative has been taking the practice pads that they were distributing and trying to find ways to make them better. Some would even say more innovative. In fact, some of you probably remember this version of the practice pad that was out a few years ago. They even had a red rubber gum surface version of this pad, but as you can see, this doesn't have any kind of rim on it. So I want to say it was 2 or 3 years ago that Innovative released the 2 versions of pads that we have now, and they have been really popular among the percussion community. The first one over here is the red gum rubber pad, which is model number RP1R, and then you have the black core pad, which is model number CP1R. Both of these are extremely similar. There is only one little difference, and that has to do with the playing surface. So let's go ahead and talk about the overall commonalities between both of these pads. So talking about the overall size of the pad, the diameter is right at 11.5 inches. The thickness of both pads from the bottom gripping surface all the way to the top of the rim is about 1.25 inch, which makes it great for traveling, great for smaller spaces such as, say, a tour bus or a car. Either way, the size makes it very versatile and easy to travel with, and I think it's really one of the finer selling points of these pads. 2 other things that are identical on both of these pads, first one being the gripping surface on the bottom. They both have a gripping surface that is 1/8 of an inch in thickness, has a little bit of cushion, which is nice, but it's super grippy. It's not gonna go anywhere, whether it's on a glass surface or even your tile or wood floor. It's gonna stick where you put it, which is nice. Second thing is the rim up top sits exactly 1/8 of an inch above the playing surface, so it definitely recreates the reality of playing on a drum where your rim is sitting slightly above the drum head. The differences in these pads lie in the playing surfaces. The playing surface on the black core pad is going to be a thinner 1/8 of an inch thick, harder rubber. It's gonna make the pad a little bit louder. Where the rubber gum surface on this pad is gonna be a little bit thicker, this playing surface is right at 1/4 of an inch in thickness. And while the thickness and material of both surfaces do make a difference in sound, it very, very minorly affects the weight of both. The black core pad weighs in at 2.75 pounds, and the red gum rubber pad weighs in right over 3 pounds. As stated earlier, I really think that the size of these pads are a great selling feature. I love the fact that they're not hard to move around. You know how I am about wanting my practice pads to fit in a backpack, but these pads are one of the only pads I know of where when you're carrying them in your backpack, it doesn't feel like you're carrying them in your backpack. Just nice and subtle, so needless to say, these obviously pass the backpack test. Now let's jump into the good stuff, which is how these pads sound and feel. The action on the red gum rubber pad is going to be pretty quick. You're going to get quite a bit of rebound, definitely more action than the black core pad, but it has to do with the little bit thicker material we talked about earlier. It's pretty condensed, pretty solid, but this feels pretty comparable to a fairly tight head on a marching snare drum. You're going to create a middle frequency tone on it, but it has a little snap to it, and I really feel like the diameter plays a huge part in that, so you're not going to have problems hearing clearly on all levels of dynamic ranges. In fact, I wouldn't really expect you to have too much problem hearing yourself in most practice environments. You definitely won't have an issue hearing any of the rim shots produced on this pad, even though it is a softer pad, because you have that elevated rim. It recreates that feel like a real drum, and so you're gonna get a nice crispy sound out of your rim shots. The black core pad has a little bit slower action than the red gum rubber pad, but it's definitely not slow by any means. You still get quick rebound. It still feels like a marching snare drum. It just feels like, let's say the head would have a little bit of give where you can feel yourself compressing that air through the drum. So it's definitely still gonna give you that realistic feel. The pitch produced on this is gonna be more middle to high frequency. It really depends on not only where you are on the pad, but what dynamic level you're playing at. But the thing I like about this pad too is that there's a little bit of resonance and tone to the sound you're producing, which is nice because it's not something you usually get out of practice pads. Everything is crystal clear though on all dynamic ranges. The rim shots definitely pop on this in combination not only with the rim, but with the playing surface being a little bit thinner, a little bit firmer. So you're not gonna have issues hearing yourself in any kind of practice environment whatsoever. So let's go ahead and jump into the sound test. That way you guys can hear just how different they sound. Gonna go ahead and play a few exercises as well as some music for you so you hear the difference in both the gum rubber pad as well as the core pad. And as a reference for you in the sound test, I will be using none other than the innovative Percussion PR2 Paul Rennick snare drumsticks. Yeah! Overall, I think both of these pads sound great. They both look great. They both feel really good. I don't think that the action on them is drastically different, so I don't have to do anything crazy to try to manipulate that rebound. I just happen to lean more towards the black core pad. In fact, if you've been following this channel since early on, you've probably noticed that most of the stuff I do when I'm not reviewing other products is usually on this pad. That's not to say though that I don't enjoy the red gum rubber pad. You hear that? I still like you. Yeah, I do. As always, I did leave a couple of links for you in the description down below if you want to check these out. And what do you think? I want to know what you like more. Do you like the black core pad? Do you like the red gum rubber pad? Do you own one of these already? Let me know. Do you have a question? Put that down in the comments. Get in there, chime in. Let me know what you're thinking, and I will be sure to get back to you. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd be so kind to consider sharing this video using those share options down here on your right. And of course, if you have yet to do so, join the other 1,000 people and subscribe to the show. Thanks so much for tuning in. I will see you next time.